Hello, friends. Welcome once again to another stream where I talk. Except this time, I will talk about something very, very important. It'll be very, very important. Hello, Mikan. I'm doing all right. How about you? Hello. I thought I broke something for a second, but I'm glad I didn't. That real quick. Doing meh? Aw. Well, hopefully that meh turns into okay. But you know, meh is also better than bad. I see. Well, hopefully you'll be able to get the VAs. That responded. So anyways, now is doing okay now. That's good. So, without further ado though, it is time for us to talk about the topic. A very, very important topic that we shall discuss today. So, I hope you pay attention, chat, because I'm only gonna say this once, just once. I'm only gonna say it. The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. The 20-meter pacer test will begin in 30 seconds. Line up at the start. The running speed starts slowly, but gets faster each minute after you hear this signal. That is not the thing. A single lap should be completed each time you hear this sound. Remember to run in a straight line and run as long as possible. The second time you fail to complete a lap before the sound, your test is over. The test will begin on the word start. On your mark, get ready. Get ready, please. Time for the 2-minute jog. Start. Because I completely did not do this in the last stream. So we're doing it now. You know, I forgot to open up chat, so let's see if I can do that while jogging. This will be pretty funny to try to do. Alright. Nope, that is not the button. Alright. I have chat open. There we go. I have chat. Hello, chat. How you doing? I forgot the YouTube chat. There we go. Oh. You know, the soreness on my legs didn't really go away from a few days ago. I'm feeling it. But this is for St. Jude. This is for the children. Oh. 45 seconds. I'm almost done. I would have failed the Pacer Gram Pacer test by now. I don't think I've ever had to do that before. 30 seconds. Oh. What? What? Oh, 17. Oh, 10. Almost there. First St. Jude. First St. Jude. Yeah. Okay. Oh. All right. No, we don't need to do it again. Oh. There we go. All right, that was the topic, chat. Yep, that was the topic. Yep, good run, chat. Good run. At least that's what you thought. That's what you thought. But no, we have something important to discuss. A franchise that you should play today. Or, at some point watch. Oh, give me a second though. Let me drink water. Oh. Okay, let's talk about the franchise that you should play. And that's my fellow chat, is Grand Blue Fantasy. So, you probably heard me talk about Grand Blue Fantasy before, even probably played it before as well, for those who have been keeping up with my channel and watching. But if you have not, that is fine, for I will talk more about it later on. But for the ones who don't really know, and the ones who, this is the first time you've seen this logo, what is Grand Blue Fantasy? Well, to give a nutshell, here's a cat, okay? It's a floofy cat, it's fluffy, looks very cute, right? You just want to pick it up, pet it, hug it. Very cute cat. This cat also has wings, okay? And it's also green, which, a little odd, like maybe you've never seen a green cat before, especially one with wings. But that's okay. It's extra floofy, definitely extra floofy to like pet, hug, and love. It's very, very adorable. Oh yeah, this cat is also a dragon. More specifically, a dragon that's job is to regulate the element of wind in the entire Grand Blue universe, along with 5 other dragons that do the same thing, essentially. They regulate, and from left to right, fire, water, earth, we said wind, light, and dark. So they regulate the elements that were given to the job by Bahamut, which I will talk about as well in a bit. And yeah, they can also be in like human form, but we don't have to talk too much about that. So who is Bahamut? Who is that? Well, to give a basic answer, everything you see before you is Bahamut. Now, you may question me, but so Leah, they look so different. They can't possibly be the same dragon. Nope. That's Bahamut. The top left is Bahamut. The top right is Bahamut. The bottom middle, bottom left, Bahamut. In the center, dead straight in the center, that is Bahamut. So he is essentially the omnipotent god of all of Grand Blue. Just the basic. So he basically created the entire world of Grand Blue Fantasy. And he was just flying around one day. Like, after he created the world and everything in it, he was just flying around, minding his own business, when a group of people collectively said, "You are a monster, you are terrible, die," and tried to essentially kill him. And, he doesn't really, obviously he acts out in self-defense, and he protects himself. And, that fuels the people's hatred of him more for some reason. And then at one point, a man with the power of Phoenix blood split him into 2. Like, cut him in half. Between the astral god to the left and the sky god to the right. Rebirth and destruction, essentially. You get the, that basically sums it up. And everything you see before you is canon. All right? Just keep that in mind. Everything you are about to see is all canon. So now, who are you, right? Like, all right, here's the little background and everything, but who are you essentially? Well, you play the role of either Gran, who is to the left, and Jita to the right. I mean, you can change the name, obviously, to be whoever you want, but that's essentially the default names. Get it? Grand Blue Fantasy, even though Japanese, it's Grand Blue Fantasy. Get it? Because funny play on words. Anyway, so, but in more basic terms, you are the singularity of the Grand Blue Fantasy universe. If you die, the world ends. I am not kidding. If you die, the entire world just ends. Enemies who try to kill you are essentially trying to end the world without even knowing it. I mean, of course, it's not just like people, trying to kill you or anything. There are others who are trying to prevent that from happening, even to the point of maybe changing like a timeline or two. But, obviously it works. You're still alive. And of course, you still have your cool old plot armor and ability to unite people together. Unite them in what is your crew. And just ranging from, children to knights to veterans to psychopathic killers to demigods, all that stuff. Everyone gets united and help you out, essentially. Whatever the task may be. Could be fighting different monsters, clearing out camps, making deliveries, like deliver this like egg salad to another island. You take all sorts of jobs. All sorts of jobs. You take them. So maybe I should back up a bit because, what I just said probably made you guys raise some eyebrows a little bit. Just like very quickly. What is these demigods that I just spoke of? Like, what is that? Well, the correct term would be essentially primal beasts. And what primal beasts are is that they are essentially creations that are made to do a specific task or tasks by these, I guess you could call them people, known as astrals. Now, you probably remember, like, back then I mentioned something about, like, the astral god. Well, these are, like, the people, like, astrals. Like, the people of, like, the astral god. And what they are is that they're basically, to put it simply, magical scientists, physicists, and engineers that question how everything works. So they experiment everything to a fault. And I mean everything. Whether it's changing the weather systems, maybe seeing how music affects the brain, bending time and space. They created the primal beasts to do just that. And mostly succeeded. So, you have the astrals that exist, as well as, the people I mentioned before, which are known as skyfarers, under the sky god. We'll call them skyfarers. Yeah, they kind of, the astrals and skyfarers kind of decided to duke it out. They had a war between them. And spoilers alert, the skyfarers won. They won despite demigods battling them. So think about any mythological creature that you can think of. The skyfarers fought that and won. So I'm talking about something like Zeus, Odin, Hydra, Leviathan, Baal, Medusa, Freyr. Like, the list goes on. The list goes on. And, yeah, the Skyfarers beat that. They beat all of them. Now, how did they win? Well, I think you should play the game to find out. So, now that I've explained to you the basic rundown of the backstory of what exactly is Grand Blue Fantasy, how can you play this magnificent game, this wonderful game that I've described to you, right? Well, the first and foremost, you can play the original turn-based RPG gacha game. You can play it on the browser, Google Chrome preferably. I mean, if you're able to make it work on, like, I don't know, Firefox and Opera or something, then great. But to my knowledge, Google Chrome is the only browser that really works with it. But I could be wrong on that front. Or if you have a Japanese device, you could download it from the App Store. That is also possible. Both instances are free. It's a free game to play. And despite the genre of it being a quote-unquote gotcha game, you don't need to spend a single cent on it at all. You don't need to put in any money in it. You literally just need to put in your time. That's it. Just play the game. And from that, you can discover the whole story of Grand Blue Fantasy, the things I just described back there, you'll now know in full detail of why the cat is a dragon, why, or even why the dragon chose to be a cat. Why on earth is Bahamut so many forms? Why don't the Astrals do something more productive rather than experiment? How on earth did a god... What's the reason for the Skyfarers to basically point at Bahamut and say, monster, and try to kill him? Well, I guarantee you, one of those instances, you're not going to get the answer to, no matter how much you read into the stories. But you also can go to event stories, character stories, like all the fun little side stories, to just figure out more of the world of Grand Blue Fantasy, because there's actually more to it than just you and your journey. It's a whole world-building experience. And with over 700 characters, each with their own story to play and read, you will not be sick and tired of it at all. And I'm not saying that in a sarcastic manner. I know it sounded like I said it in a sarcastic manner, but I guarantee you it's not. It's very interesting, and I recommend that you do get it, and you do read at least some of them. Not all of them, of course, but there's probably ones that have your fancy. Like, for example, oh yeah, and last thing too, all of the thing you read in the game, every single bit of it, it's canon. As I've said before, it's all canon. No matter what you see or what you read, it is all canon. This guy, who I'm sure all of you will think is a girl, but I guarantee you it's a guy, what's his story? Well, you can read and find out. This girl that is actually a guy with a soul in it, a guy's soul in a girl's body. Wonder what that is all about? You can read up and find out. What about this edgy guy that's the most popular character in the whole franchise? So much so that he won #1 on the popularity poll, I think, 5 years straight, I think. Might be 4. 4 or 5 years. But he also became one of the most powerful beings, too. Yep, you can find that out, too. And finally, for the ones that, there's also comic strips that you can read. Most of it is translated. They have 2,592 comic strips available. Though a little less than that, because unless you can read Japanese, then you can read them all. But probably about, I want to say 2/3 of it is translated. So you can read those, and the 1/3 that's the most recent, it's in Japanese, so you're gonna have to wait until it gets translated. But it gets updated almost every day. A new strip gets added. So yeah, it's fun little things that are also canon, by the way. Don't forget that they are canon. So even though I explained to you the turn-based game, yeah, you might be thinking, well, turn-based, that's not really my cup of tea. Or like I really don't like gacha. Like gacha is just disgusting. It's the worst sort of gaming genre I've ever heard. How dare you even utter its name? Well, then I got good news for you. That is not the only way you can play Grand Blue Fantasy. If fighting games or party games is your style, then I recommend Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, or the most recent one, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising. It has a free version of the game where you can play, you have the option of 5 characters, and they rotate every week, so you do have the opportunity to try out every character in the game. I think aside from the DLC, though. You can play the first section of the main story in the game, and you have full access to the party game that is associated with it. It is from what I hear, a competitive environment. It does have a spot in EVO that you can perform, and there are tournaments and everything that you can win prize money. And that's really all I know about it. I actually haven't played it myself because I'll be transparent. I am not one really with fighting games. I'm not that great with them. I mean, will I still play it for fun? Yeah, but I think until I get it, I don't think I'll be really playing it myself. But regardless, you do have a nice assortment of characters that you can pick and choose, plus some DLC characters. 4 are already released, and I believe there at least one more planned in the current season pass. And I think there's rumored to have more DLC characters after that fact. So, what about the party game aspect? Well, it is called Grand Brews. Yes, brews, because that's funny. And yes, you could play different on all assortment types of games, like collecting gold bars that you really don't know the true value of. You don't know. And obstacle courses with Mario Kart item boxes. Yes, this game is also Mario Kart if you really think about it. Oh yeah, and for the bottom left picture, you see that dragon right there? Yeah, that's also Bahamut, and he's also canon. Yes, that him holding a gold bar like that, canon, completely canon. So now, what if you're like me in the sense that fighting games aren't your style, and you don't like turn-based games, and nor the party games aren't really your interest? Well, that's okay. We also got an adventure RPG game, which is beautifully, beautifully designed. It took them 8 years to make it, and it was originally collaborated with Platinum Games. Though they kind of, I believe they did separate in the middle of production, they did take, Cygames did take notes, and Cygames is the developer of the Granblue Fantasy franchise. They took notes, and they created a very beautiful game. It's an adventure, Monster Hunter-esque genre, also a bit of Genshin, Minecraft, Persona, Dark Souls, all those games, a little bit all together. And unfortunately, through this beautiful, beautiful game, there isn't a demo or a free version. But it is worth the price, in my opinion. You may have seen this, me playing this game on my channel. This is the one that I did show on stream. And I guarantee you, I am still having a lot of fun with it. And I'm waiting for the May update, which should be, even though it's almost the end of May, actually, and I have a feeling this update's more going to be pushed in June. But I'm looking forward to it because one of my favorite characters is going to be released, and I will get him. I don't know if I'll actually stream it, but maybe I will. We'll see, though. And, well, I will say, though, that the Reeling story may be a bit important because when these characters get inevitably added to the original game with their stories and everything, well, yeah, you gotta do your homework and everything. Now, I showed you 3 games. I showed you 3 different types of games that you can play to enjoy the world of Granblue Fantasy. But what if you don't feel like playing the games? What if you just say, nah, you know, I get what you're saying. I do, like, look, the story could be interesting too. Yeah, you made some good points, but I don't really want to, like, have to play the game in order to learn the story. Well, guess what? No problem. There's an anime. A 12-episode long anime that essentially covers most of the first arc of the main story, as well as having, like, a little bit of some extra tidbits in it, too. It is a very enjoyable anime, and maybe one day I might actually rewatch it just because I did see it, and I really did like it. Plus, you know the comics? That also has an anime. Granted, a very short anime, if you want to call it that. They're 12 episodes, yes, but each of them are 3 minutes long. And okay, if I'm gonna be honest, they don't really contribute to the story at all. They're just funny little shorts that are funny. And I think that they're very enjoyable to watch. See, even my dog agrees. And obviously, if my dog agrees, then you should agree too, because that's just how it works. Now, with that out of the way, anyone have any questions? I shall bring it to the chat room for questions and everything. All right. Oh no, I've arrived at the Solely Sword TED Talk. Hello, Joshua. How are you doing today? How are you doing? Yes, welcome. Welcome to my TED Talk of why you should play Granblue Fantasy. Or watch Granblue Fantasy, depending on which is your fancy. So, I have a question. Go for it. What is your question? How expensive is said game? I am glad you wait, actually, which game? There is the original there's the original turn-based RPG game. There's the fighting game, and then there's the action RPG game, which is yeah, so which one? The action RPG, the price is $60. So like it basically like the same price as, you know, games out there essentially. There was a sale recently, though. I mean, it ended. A Switch game, yeah, yeah. Well, it's on Steam too, but yeah, it's a Switch game. Price of a Switch game, but recently they did do a 15% sale. It has expired by now, but knowing that a sale did happen, it is very possible that there could be another sale eventually. So you may not get it at $60. You could probably get it for a bit cheaper, like 50 or something. 50, 55. So yeah, that's how much it is. But I think it is worth the price personally, because it does give you a big, you know, it does premise like a story, and like definitely a lot of excuse me, definitely a lot of things to do, in my opinion. And it is, I think it's worth it. Another question: what does Bahamut do in the Grand Blue Fantasy lore? Well, pre-Slice and Half, he was just he created the entire world of Grand Blue Fantasy. So essentially, you can say that he is the Big Bang, or depending on your beliefs, like whatever God created the world, like God, you know, the 6 days of, or 7 days of creation, yeah, seventh day of rest. You could think, you know, yeah, I'll compare it like that. So instead of it being, I think, 7 days, it was probably just 1 day, and then the next day of him flying around was a day of rest. How long are the days, though? I don't know. But he did create it, and he was just flying around before the people said, "You're a monster, die." Now, post-Slice, so this is essentially the Sky God. The Sky God would be more or less what Bahamut looked like. And currently he is in the he was in the shrine of basically MC, or the character you're playing's home. And the Lyria, who is the blue-haired girl that I showed, aka also a bit fragment of the Astral God. Spoilers. But she was able to absorb that essence of Bahamut, and you can basically summon him whenever you want. So you have a bit of Bahamut right in your pocket, and you can say pew, and everything is gone. Except it had to be nerfed, because obviously it would be too strong. But yeah, that is currently where what Bahamut does, though. He helps you essentially in the in like battles when you call upon him with Lyria. And I could also get into the topic of, so since Lyria, like that blue-haired girl, was a fragment of the Astral God, well, what about the Sky God? Like, did he get a fragment? Well, he did, in the form of a little red dragon. But I think that could be something for you to play and find out. Is the live stream action RPG a live service type game? You said Bahamut got patched. Oh, okay. I should be clear. So the Bahamut I was talking about in lore, that was more of the original, like the turn-based RPG in the gacha game. Yeah, no. So in Relink, his role, well, the beginning, kind of what I said, it's your back pocket of nuke the dragons, and the quote unquote patched or nerf there was just the enemy. And I'm not gonna really say too much of what the enemy did it or how the enemy did it, but let's just say they basically put a seal on Bahamut to essentially disconnect him with Lyria, which is why you had to fight him at the beginning. And then yeah. So you couldn't use him. That's the patch part. The seal would essentially be the patch of, nope, can't use him, or you risk essentially having to fight him again. After that, though, after that whole seal's taken care of, then you can ride on his back as he basically slashes claws and flies and breathes the breath of, what do you want to call it? Sky damage, dark damage, big beam of destruction damage. So yeah, he could do that when you finish, when you solve the seal problem. But yeah, that's what Bahamut does. But is the action RPG a live service type game? So mostly no, in the sense that yes, it will have patches every now and then just to keep the balance of the game correct because of bugs. It's mostly because of bugs rather than make sure everything is balanced and everything. Well, yeah, I don't really know how the creators worded it, but it would be more or less that they have a roadmap of the content that they want to give out, and the next one that they plan to give out, that's the last of the planned content. But they did say that if enough people basically want, and they're also, though they're satisfied with how the game is now, if enough people basically say, hey, we want more content. If enough people say we want more content, then they'll see what they can do in terms of adding more stuff, whether it be more characters, more stages, more quests, or even just functions and whatnot. So, though it's technically not a live service game, because you can play it in single player, you have the option to play it as multiplayer online, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a live service game. And he uses the Biden blast. Oh, you're right. You're right, he does. If enough people say we want more content, then it will slowly metamorphosize into Genshin Impact 2. Well, without the gacha elements, if that's any indication, there's literally, when it comes to the characters at least, there's no gacha. Actually, yeah, the only sort of quote-unquote gacha there is really just your time. There's no essential microtransactions. I mean, there are, to where you could get like some items to help you, but you can just farm those. So, and of course there's color packs, but again, it's that part is all optional. Like you don't need it. You don't have to get it. You could get everything in the game as long as you just put your time in it. That's what it is. I thought you said there was a Grand Blue Fantasy gacha game. There is. There is. Yep. The original Grand Blue Fantasy, which is the browser game, that is a gacha game. That's the turn-based one. To where, even though, and I will say it again though, you like for the action RPG too, you don't really need to spend money on it at all. The only thing you really need to spend on it is your time. But you don't really need, I mean, as long as you get some of the characters, then you're fine. Just get some characters and you're fine. And then eventually you will grow your team. All the gear that you would get in the game, Actually, you can't even buy that. You can't even buy any of the gear, really. It's just you have to farm it. So all they had to do is make crossover between the turn-based and the action RPG to make Genshin Impact 2. Correct, and they won't do that. They would not do that. So, I believe a shame. Well, don't worry. Don't worry. If you really, really think about it, we already have a Genshin Impact 2 game called Withering Waves. Or Honkai Star Rail, depending on your perspective. Man, Genshin community in shambles. But yeah, so I guess other questions that I have a feeling people could ask about it, Grand Blue at least, is that my mind went blank. Oh well. Why is Soli's mind go blank? Because it just does. It just does. Mine says good night and it sleeps. It sheeps. But yeah, so are there any more questions about Grand Blue Fantasy, whether it be the fighting game, the action RPG, the original, so the regular Grand Blue Fantasy versus or relink? That happens to my brain if I don't eat a loaf of bread to wake up. Oof. I don't even eat a loaf of bread. I kind of just vibe. I kind of just say, hello there, and vibe. Are all the characters in that weird teen range, or are they like 20 or something? It is a range of ages. From children from children to old men and women. One of the characters is a grandma that makes crackers. Oh, the food, 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 Twitch, the food, the food, the food. I have to make that 100% clear. The food. So are most of them children? No. No, I would say, I want to say that most of them, I want to say young adults. I actually don't know the whole, I don't know I guess the general age range, but it's not mostly kids. It's not, there's like, I want to say like an eighth of them are kids. Maybe even less. But it's mostly, I think it's mostly young adult. Though there are some who look like children, but are actually like thousands of years old. I will say that. Oh, Laps, hello! Hello, everybody! Welcome to the raid! Hello! Hello, raiders! Welcome! Welcome, welcome, one and all, where I talk about why you should play or watch Grand Blue Fantasy. And I feel like I have to do the whole presentation again for the raiders. So, raiders, do you want to hear the presentation? Like late teen or early 20s. I would say early 20s. Ew, brother, ew. What's that, brother? Anime? Well, it doesn't, it don't need to be anime. It could just be, like the game or something. Like the fighting game, the, turn-based game, the action game. It could be either one. Or even the comic. You could read the comic. Oh, wait, that's right. There's also a manga. Oh, thank you for the follow. Labelors, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Slowly shifts her TED Talk to Skate 3. Man, imagine like during this whole time, I just changed my presentation to just gaslight everybody. Like, all right, time to talk about a completely other game. Oh, Lappy, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. But yeah, just imagine, just, you know, all right, guys, time to talk about Genshin Impact or Monster Hunter. But yeah, so here I can give. And with that, gonna have to go to sleep. Okay, have a good night, Lapis. Thank you again for the raid, and thank you. Now that's something I get behind of. I played too much of both. Well, I did play Monster Hunter World. I did play that for a time. Unfortunately, I had to uninstall it because it was too big for my PC at the time. I'm pretty sure I can re-download it and play it again, but I would need people to play with, because, well, I can play it myself. I can only play it myself for so long. Going from Genshin to Surgeon Simulator would be a wild transition. All right, guys. Here's a new thing for a stream. It's time to talk. A very important discussion to discuss. It's time to talk about why you should play Ori. Ori is a beautiful game. I'm people too. Yes, you all are people. Hello, people. How y'all doing? I hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are having a nice, fun time. And hopefully have punched cancer in the face. Joshua, I know you've punched cancer in the face. This doesn't apply to you. Do not think about anything. This does not apply to you. Now, though, have you played Amori? It also has Ori in the name. I have not played Amori, but I do know the story of Amori. I don't know, Solia. But you know, that's fair. I could be talking about Amori, or I could be talking about Ori in the Blind Forest. I could just be saying Ori, but maybe I meant Okami, you know? That wonderful, beautiful game that I guarantee every single person should play Okami. You know what? Scratch the whole presentation I just made about Grand Blue Fantasy. You should play Okami. I'm not even kidding here. You should play Okami. That is a beautiful, wonderful game. It still stands to the dawn of time as one of my favorite games of all time, if not the favorite game. It is a wonderful game. You all should play it. It's on Steam. You can play it there. Or if you want to be very old-fashioned, you could play it on either Wii or PlayStation. Or Switch. That's right, it's also on Switch. Is that the dog game? Yes, it is the wolf goddess game. You'll be a wolf. I really don't think I can say anything more that could convince you to play this game other than you play a wolf. Though I still live Viva Pinata and Skyward Sword more, do adore Okami. You know, Viva Pinata, I remember that show. I don't remember it. I remember it exists. I do remember it exists. Skyward Sword, I have yet to play. I have not played it. Woof dog. Yeah, and yes, you can woof. You can woof in the game. You can bark in Okami. Yes. But yes, it is. Yeah, you know what? Scratch TED Talk. You know what? Maybe I should quickly just change everything in the PowerPoint. Do it again to just say, hey, play Okami. But are there any more questions about Grand Blue Fantasy? I have time to take one last question before we move on. from questions. Or you know what? Any question. Any type of question. You know what? It doesn't have to be related to Grand Blue. It could just be any questions. This has become a Q&A stream of just ask the funny streamer anything. Are there any height characters? Are there any height charts from the characters in the wiki? You know, there is a Grand Blue Fantasy wiki. There is a wiki for Grand Blue Fantasy, and they do have the data of heights. I don't know if they have, like, a chart of, like, putting every single character in that height chart. I don't think so, considering there are over 700 characters and counting. Like, there's more characters. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. The roster gets updated every half a month with either new characters or new ults to old characters. So it is called GBF Wiki. You can go to that site, and to the left there's all characters. You can click any one of them, and I'm sure there'll be a height. I believe under lore. I believe under lore tab at the top. I'm just saying this by memory. Is Kree considered a terrorist? I don't know who Kree is. So I'm going to say, Klee. Is Klee considered a terrorist? No, it's cool, it's cool. I would say if Klee has, because this could go in two ways. Because it's both intent, like intention, or just innocence, you know, like experimentation. So if the idea that Klee's mindset is just an innocent child, and she just, you know, blows up things because, you know, she's a child. She wants to see what would happen and everything, and it gives her enjoyment. Okay, maybe subtract the enjoyment part, but then, yeah, I guess, to be fair, she is a child. At the same time, with intention, though, if it was with intention, like, she threw that bomb with the intent of, hey, this bomb is going to hurt you, kaboom, then yeah, I consider her a terrorist. But with her being a child and not understanding too much of the destruction of bombs, because, you know, I'm going around blowing random people up for the lulz. I mean, true. If Klee does that, I mean, if you do think about it, when we play as different characters, technically with that logic, aren't all of them terrorists? I mean, you go around, you stop treasure hunters, or Fatui. You could get random people. Yes, it's not a question, that's a fact. So, there is that, to be fair. Now, it's also the question of, do they deserve it? I mean, because technically, if you're fighting a terrorist group, does that make you a terrorist? You know? Like, where's the line there? I mean, don't get me wrong, that could be possible that by fighting terrorists, you are a terrorist. But is that true? You know? Like, is that the case? I think it depends how you fight them. Okay, so I guess if the fact of fighting is the option, so bombing is probably the thing of terrorists. So I wonder if by saying all these words, I'm gonna get flagged by YouTube and Twitch to be like, "Hey, you're saying these crazy words. Hey, you're saying these crazy words. It's illegal." We have gone from Grand Blue Fantasy to the philosophy of terrorism. Yeah, no, more accurately, we've gone from jogging for St. Jude to the philosophy of terrorism. And you know what? I think then because of that, we should drop it. By authority as streamer, I think we should drop it. Also, I hate the idea of sparing the bad guys because then the good guy is the same as them. You know, I will say if the bad guy actually remorses and like does regret what he has done, then maybe deserving of a second chance. Otherwise, bye. That would solve so many problems. All right, so what was Joshua? The real question is if Megaman is... I actually don't know who Megaman is. Is it Mega Man? I actually don't know. Philosopher mentality. Konosuma. Well, I think it's a good time to, I suppose, wrap up questions and just say the simple thing. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk about why you should play Grand Blue Fantasy today. But we're not done yet. Oh no, chat. You thought we were ending this here? Nope. For there's something even more important that I must tell you all. More important than everything I've talked about. It is prepared for this moment of what to discuss. Like right here. And that is why you should punch cancer in the face for St. Jude Children's Hospital. That's right, chat. You yourself, with the exception of Joshua, because he has punched cancer enough times in the face, and I don't want him to punch it anymore, because if he does, I don't really want to have any financial burden. So Joshua was excluded from this. Everyone else, however, you should punch cancer in the face. This is to all of you. That if you donate today for St. Jude, in the description of the YouTube and as well as the image at the Twitch below, you can punch cancer in the face by donating to St. Jude. $1 equals a punch toward cancer. And with that, you're able to... What? What do you mean my time's up? I'm just talking about... I'm talking about St. Jude. You can't interrupt me for that. I spoke too much about Grand Blue Fantasy. I should have done it earlier. I still have like 8 minutes. I can still talk about St. Jude. Not enough time to convince them? I doubt that. I can convince people. I can convince this chat to just like donate to St. Jude like that. No, give me the stuff. Stop. Give me the stuff. No, donate to St. Jude today. Donate to St. Jude today. Party stream this Friday at